Today we have some titanium, courtesy of a customer down in London who sent this up. They brought themselves this rather beautiful Stanton and treated themselves to a Hambini titanium bottom bracket. But he's come across a problem. He's read through the instructions on the Hambini website about making sure there's no gap when you install this bottom bracket. Right here we have got a feeler gauge of 0.1 millimeters, and this absolutely eats it. And on the other side, using the 0.05, we have a little problem as well. So we are a long way away from being a nice square surface. So this customer actually reached out to Hambini and said, is this good to install? He said, no, not at all. Go and get that face. So you went to some of the local bike shops in London who weren't so happy about doing the work for him. So he got in contact with us, said, no problem, send it up to us. We'll take a look and see what we can do. And here we are. This isn't a particularly challenging job. All you need to do is really make sure that your tools are sharp and clean, and you take your time, and the process isn't actually that much different to doing it with an aluminium frame. So let's get these unscrewed. What we're going to be doing is very quickly just checking the threads, but I don't think that's going to be a massive problem. And then we're going to be facing it. Now, when you start facing titanium, the biggest problem you're going to have is called galling. And when there's an amount of friction between the two surfaces, you can kind of get this galled up piece of metal, which kind of makes for a really uneven finish. So you need to make sure that your tools are clean. So I've already given everything a good clean with contact cleaner, dug out any old swarf. And I know this tool is pretty sharp. We had this sharpened over Christmas. Cutting fluid we lose, by the way, is the tie grist stuff. This is more to do with cleaning out any old Loctite or debris. So happy with the threads. Let's get cracking with these faces, because that's the real problem. So first of all, get a guide in. So when you're cutting titanium, it's a harder metal, so you need to add a bit more preload than you probably want to when you're cutting aluminium. And that extra preload is going to generate a bit more friction, which is then going to enhance the risk of galling. So that's why you need to be extra careful with this, really. Let's get lubricant all around these surfaces. And the important thing, they give this two handles, not because it's really stiff and you need loads and loads of effort, it's because you can use both hands to really make sure that you smooth out the cutting action. There we go, now we can start seeing little cuts and little bits of swarf appeal. You see how much tension I had to use that compared to aluminium. I almost wound all the way in. You can just see here the material removed. Aluminium tends to come off in nice big chunks. This tends to come off in a bit more like powder form. Let's give that another check. What we're looking for is a completely flush finish. That looks a whole lot better. That was the easy side, the one that only had the very small 0.05 gap. This is the one that had almost a 0.1 gap. So let's get cracking. Give our tools a clean before we do a fresh cut. Like, preparation of your tools just prevents any problems. It's definitely just worth taking the extra time. So that juddering you can probably just pick up on. That's what we're trying to avoid. So if that happens, back the tool off a little bit, add some more lubricant, keep everything lubricated, and then really try and smooth out the cut. Now you can start seeing bits of titanium being cut. I'm looking for good contact the whole way around. Almost want to see like every single tooth is being used to cut. Oh. It's that vibration that we really want to avoid. If it does happen, just put another round in just to avoid any little ridges that might have come from that. Quite a bit more swarf on here. Not loads and loads, little cuttings look a bit like that. It does make the world of difference. Just looking for a super smooth surface. If you do get like that vibration or it galls up, you'll see like a little cutting mark. It should be just completely smooth. And let's just see how this is looking. This is now a 0.06. Okay, we've still got a tiny little bit of gap here. So let's give that another cut. So again, I'm making this look difficult, but it isn't. What I'm really trying to do is keep it as smooth as possible and using both hands. The amount of pressure I'm putting in is like next to nothing. I could probably turn it with one finger, but it's just keeping it super smooth. Looking good, looking good. Yeah, good. We think we've got rid of that gap. Okay, to finish this up, we need to think about the interface between titanium and titanium. It's not a very common interface. We sometimes do this on titanium frames with titanium bolts, but here we normally fit in aluminium cups. It's very rare that you fit titanium cups. Now, when it comes to titanium anti-seizes, most things have been developed for the aviation industry, i.e. hot jet engines, not necessarily cold bike frames only under a little bit of pedaling load, but we do have this problem where this is going to be exposed to the elements and be washed down with hoses and be ridden through puddles and that sort of thing. So our biggest concern is something that stays put and doesn't wash out, as opposed to something that's going to have a massive extreme of temperatures. So there's quite a few things on the market that will say they're for tyre preparation, but most things are being designed assuming that you're going to be installing an aluminium bottom bracket into a titanium frame. So there's things like ferroslip, which is what we normally use for this sort of situation. You can get lots of nickel based products, which we've talked about on this channel before when a customer specifically asked us to fit a nickel product. Now I like ferroslip because it's a very easy substance to use and live with here in a bike workshop. But in this instance, what I'm actually going to use is some PTFE tape, and we're going to use a calcium sulfonate grease. Now this is probably my favorite grease for stuff that doesn't wash out, and that's going to be our major concern. So when we're fitting these, one, this is going to make our torque settings a bit harder, and this is going to make it a little bit easier. The recommended torque settings for this is 25 Newton meters. What we're going to do is make sure that all the faces touch and then add the required torque on top of that. There we go, relatively straightforward job. Just take your time, be careful, use good lubricants and use good sharp tools, and we're golden. Right, back to London.